The holidays mean more travel, more shopping, more time online, and more personal info in more places that could expose you more to identity theft. But LifeLock monitors millions of data points per second. If your identity is stolen, our US-based restoration specialists will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Don't face drained accounts, fraudulent loans, or financial losses alone. Get more holiday fun and less holiday worry with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit lifelock.com/podcast. Terms apply.
You're listening to Achtung, Millwall, broadcasting from the beautiful South Birmingham. Accept no substitute.
As well, and I thought Camille Negley, the amount of ground he covered the day was unbelievable. You know, and what people don't realise with Camille's regularly our sort of highest runner as far as high speed running, high distance running. Like, he does it every single game. So I thought he was excellent as well.
Switches from right to left to Sturge, takes one touch, now plays the ball into the penalty area. It falls kindly for Negley. Can he score? He does!
Yes, indeed he does score, dear listeners. That was, of course, first Alex Neil praising the input of Camille Negley on Monday night's fantastic statement win over Bristol City. And then secondly, of course, our very own Carl Bates describing the first goal, which was really nicely put away by the man himself, Negley. Ladies and gentlemen, just before I was going to switch on the recording, I was just looking at a post by the Championship Chat podcast, reposted by Jay Thomas. Big shout out to JT, on Twitter, on X. And the Championship Chat podcast bring to our attention that Millwall brought their first year to a close under Alex Neil. I think he joined us last January, didn't he? Can't remember the date, but 1 year, basically. Beating Bristol City 2-1 at the Den on Monday night. In that year, dear listeners, that's the end of last season, beginning of this, we've amassed from 46 championship matches, which is the full programme, where across the season, 73 points. Only Coventry City on 92 have won more than Millwall in 2025. Yes, it's split across two campaigns. But I make the Championship Chat podcast right in saying what a job he has done, and indeed what a way it was to sign off 2025 with that win over a new little I don't know, they're not rivals, are they, listeners? They're too pitiful to be rivals, but certainly a team that we seem to get under the skin of, Bristol City. A lot of silly posts online, not least led by their manager Gerhard Struber. So it is indeed a bouncing South Bermondsey as we sit fifth in the table at the 24 game mark, over halfway through the season now. 39 points, we're sitting fifth. 39 points is just 4 points behind second place Middlesbrough in the automatic spots. We really hope, we sincerely hope, with returning injured and, the casualties of the season over the next couple of months, certainly, possibly for a grandstand finish. Who knows? Who knows where it'll go? We've still got 2 games to get through in this grinding Christmas campaign. Tomorrow, of course, we're all travelling down to Southampton for another difficult game. And as Alex Neil rightly put it in the Mill TV interview that I watched earlier on, it'll be a case of who's fit and who's standing up for the home game versus Swansea on Sunday. Now, this is a voicemail edition. This is also a huge thank you to everyone that sent me voicemails in the wake of that magnificent home win on Saturday. I'm sure we're going to touch on in the course of all of these contributions, Negley's opener, the tactics and the shift, the substitutions, Langstaff's moment of glory late, and dare we even dream of playoffs or possibly higher at the end of the season. I'm sure these will all be issues touched on by the contributors for this show, and also for the few that I inserted into the live stream of consciousness show, the previous edition, 808. But we move on, listeners. We've got our first voicemail now. We're going to have a listen to Matt Richards. Take it away, Matt.
Hello, Nick. Matt Richards, just driving back from that game. Well, I think the words shithoused were created for games like that, weren't they? I think the majority of that game I just couldn't see us winning. But somehow we managed to fight and nick that goal and come away with 3 points, and well needed 3 points really for us to kind of stay in contention with the patchwork team we've been putting together over the last weeks and weeks and weeks, really, but particularly over this Christmas period, where the games are coming thick and fast. I thought we started quite well. Interesting team selection. Dropped Langstaff. I mean, I don't know if it was dropped. So I think he's just resting players. Kind of he's so conscious that players played only on Friday and then we're playing on the Monday, and it's all about that balance, isn't it? Not having too much in their legs. But anyway, changed the team round off RBW and Negley in the same team. I was a bit surprised by that. But anyway, I thought we started brightly, what we often do. But yeah, we scored. Negley scored a goal. I think Negley played one of his best games for us, really. Even before the goal, he made some really good touches and wasn't giving the ball away. Even though he was playing on the right, it seemed to suit him. So, and obviously the goal will help his confidence as well. There's once he tracked back as well and he made a tackle. So I was impressed with Negley tonight. I think RBW was struggling. That's one. He just can't get into the game, and it was similar up at Blackburn when playing up there. And yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's just not coming off for him at the moment. So maybe he needs a rest, and who knows, maybe a loan in January. But back to the game. After the first 20 minutes, where I thought we were probably the better team, we kind of just some sloppy defending at the back and giving Bristol City chances to attack us. And at the end, I think, like most of us, I was holding out, praying for half time to come, really. And then 1-0 up, and you're thinking, well, okay, we'll start brightly second half, but they pushed us back, and their goal was it's just too simple. It's another one of those simple goals we just let in. It seems like we're standing still. And after that, really, I thought they could have been 3-4-1 up, really. Sinclair Armstrong went through, he had a shot, probably should have passed. They had another shot across the face of the goal, where he probably should have done better. It felt like just a matter of time. I mean, Alex Neil rightly made some changes and went to 5 across the back. That didn't work, and it really felt as if they were going to score any minute. Then I think he made some more tactical changes. Langstaff was on. Langstaff made a difference. He was the super sub, if you like. Almost immediately after he came on, I think Ballo came on and did okay, and he got the ball over, and Langstaff just missed it. There's another one which just fell behind Langstaff. He just couldn't twist his body. But he's a danger. He's a danger. He runs hard and fast. Pressurises defenders. He's always he's like an annoying, he's an annoying little player if you're a defender. And he got his goal, and what a goal! I mean, God knows how. I need to see it back. I saw it on the screen, but I mean, how he finished from there. Incredible finish, absolutely incredible finish. I just couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe we were 2-1 up, and I don't think anybody else could in the ground. And it was guaranteed. I said to the fellow next to me, I said, it's going to be 7 minutes. We knew he was going to add on that. And it was, to be honest, I actually think we held out pretty well. And we held out for the win. So what a great win that is for us. Even though we didn't play well, we just played well in patches. The team looks knackered. We've got people like Ryan Leonard playing centre midfield. He hasn't played centre midfield for years. He's not up to the pace of the game. Got players out of form. But what I will say is Alex Neil, fair play to him. He goes for the win. Other managers in the past with a sharp shot and thought, right, okay, let's get a point. But no, he does go for it. Putting another forward on. Just changing the tactics, putting Joe Bryan on, moving Sturge up a bit. He's constantly tinkering and changing things, and fair play to him and fair play to the players. And yeah, we've come away with 3 points. Bloody hell! But needed, because we've got a tough game next New Year's Day, and then Swansea at home. So brilliant, and a great atmosphere as well. I just want to say that as well. I thought fans in general got behind the team, even when we were struggling, like on the 70th minute. Fans got behind the players because they could sense, even though things weren't working, players were trying, you know, even though they were knackered and passes were going astray. We still saw a lot of effort out there, and the fans got behind the team. It was a great atmosphere. Great atmosphere when Langstaff scored that goal. So we'll take the 3 points. Anyway, cheers, Nick. Happy New Year to you and all the listeners. Come on, you Lions.
Back at you, Matt, and indeed everyone listening to the show. You might well be, if you're in Australia, you might well be the New Year already by the time you get to listen to this podcast. But Happy New Year. If I don't say it again, I probably will say it loads. This is our last show of 2025, dear listeners, and as I said at the start, and I may well repeat myself on this show and other shows yet to come, the Alex Neil effect. There is a spine to the team when we've played badly, as we have done during the course of this season, for various reasons, injuries not being the least of it. We've shown enough mettle to come back and produce. And I think the game against Ipswich, and then, you know, obviously the win on Monday night versus Bristol City against two decent, expensive teams, listeners, don't forget that, with a patchwork quilt of a starting 11. This comes down to the spine of the players. I want to take my hat off to the commitment. I think, if I remember rightly, Alex Neil praises their spirit in his post-match interview with Mill TV, and also the tactical nous that Alex Neil showed. I mean, in real time, I find I get absorbed in the game and the tactical nuances that others pick up on. You know, they slightly passed me by, but the way that Alex Neil was talking about the way he shifted tactics, bringing in Ballo when that proved to be the crucial move in the end, Ballo's input, and then obviously the finish from what a story, Macaulay Langstaff. What a story it'll be if he can have a great impact on our run in the second half of the season. I would love that. Dear listeners, love it, to quote Kevin Keegan all those years ago. Because let's be honest, we were up against it. Bristol had us on the ropes for the bulk of the second half until the tactical tweaks that Alex Neil made. And let's not forget Camille Negley, scorer of the first goal. A magnificent performance. I got told off online, listeners. I think it was a troll who I'd never heard of before. In my full-time whistle, I do about a 40-second summary as best I can in that moment. It's quite difficult to actually speak straight after a game without any chance to compose your thoughts. And I mentioned my choice of man of the match as being Tristan Kramer. Mostly, I think, because he'd been named not a few seconds earlier within the stadium as man of the match. And you haven't had a chance to control yourself. I got really a troll abused me online, which made me laugh in the moment, because, you know, when you do these little videos, A, they're meant to be a bit of fun. B, half of the point is to show the status quo and the light show going in the background with a happy happy crowd and happy voice to camera. And if it did if I forgot to mention Camille Negley, I think his name is South London is Beautiful, my troll. I saw the same game everyone else saw. It just didn't come into my head in that precise moment. So, you know, it's meant to be a bit of fun, mate. That's the point and purpose. But yeah, what a contribution Negley made again. That was the start of today's show. And as Matt has said, we're rotating a squad that is stretched beyond endurance. We've got another difficult game tomorrow, and then another on Sunday. This really is going to find out the wheat from the chaff in this division, dear listeners. But anyway, big thank you there to Matt Richards. We're going to run on now with Hassan. Take it away, Hassan.
Hi Nick, it's Hassan here. Driving home with a very croaky voice after quite a magnificent victory tonight at the Den. I don't know how we pulled it off, to be honest with you. I'll tell you one thing, that wasn't for the lack of trying. They left everything out there, them boys, mate. They put a shift in on Friday, and I really doubted that we could go again, to be honest. I thought we can get a draw. At least it's another point on the board, and it keeps the teams around us close to us as well. But we dug deep and we got the win. Again, into the game, we know about the previous match, and all this chatter on social media has been electric all week, especially what their manager said after their win on Friday. That was just adding fuel to the fire, if you ask me. I don't get why he's so pissed off about that previous fixture. It doesn't make sense, you know. We won 1-0 in the last game. They had a goal disallowed, which shouldn't have been. All right, happens to all of us. But And at the end, he refused the handshake of Alex Neil, and his captain decides to push our manager, and he kicks off from there. So I don't know what he's fucking evil. But skipping forward to post game for today, I think I know exactly why he's got the needle. I haven't heard any post-match comments from either manager, but I can pretty much be certain he will bemoan the fact that his team played great football, they done this and they done that, right? And it's an injustice that they didn't win the game. I think you alluded to it yourself, Nick, because I remember you went to Ashton Gate, and we were listening to your pod from there, and I think I think you mentioned about an online one Bristol City podcasters was saying that they were talking as if they should get points for artistry, things like that. And today, let's face it, artistry, 10 out of 10. I'm not going to deny it. It was a lovely passing and moving. At times, it felt like we were playing with 10 men. Every time they kept picking up the second ball, we couldn't get near it. And there was periods in that second half we were really on the ropes. So I think in the arrogant mind of Gerhard Struber and Bristol City fans, they think that's enough to win a game of football, or they deserve to win a game of football. Bollocks. End of the day, all that matters, the scoreline tonight says Millwall 2, Bristol City 1. Doesn't fucking matter that they done lovely through balls. They cut us open here and there. To be honest with you, Nick, how many saves did Procon make? Virtually none. Most of their good chances came from us fucking shooting ourselves in the foot. That was one of the most frustrating aspects of tonight. I don't know if it was just concentration. I think it might be more tiredness, but the amount of times we threw ball away, it was unbelievable. I'd love to see a stat. We kept giving ball away constantly. But aside from that, I'll tell you what, them boys, they worked their bollocks off tonight. And I can go through the team again, but defence was fantastic. I'm loving Caleb Taylor. Every game I see him play, he's getting better and better. He's starting to form a partnership now with Cooper. I think they start to know each other's game. Kramer is good as ever. Dougherty done well in the middle of the park. Ivanovic, he done well, contributed to the second goal. Imaku, again, done his best. For me, man of the match, I'll give it to Camille Negley. He's now, I said it on after the Friday's game, he's starting to get used to the idea of doing donkey work, running around, closing down. He was magnificent tonight. He done the dirty side really well. He got stuck in, he won a few challenges, he won the ball, he scored a good goal. I thought he was magnificent. I thought he was really magnificent. I think he's starting to probably understand, right, okay, this is what it means now to play for Millwall Football Club and to play in the Championship. It's not what I can do with the ball, because we know he's got quality. He's almost a luxury player. It's funny we say that, because we look at RBW tonight, he's playing like what Negley did when he first came in, luxury player. RBW was horrendous tonight. I'm hoping, just take him out the side, let him sit on the bench again and just learn from it. We all clamoured for RBW to be starting, and tonight showed why maybe he's not a starter yet. But hopefully it doesn't affect his confidence too much. He's still a quality player. But Negley, all those Negley haters around you, Nick, I think for me, give him a slap, because for me, I'm not hearing any criticism coming his way. I think he's slowly starting to turn the corner now, and long may it continue. Macaulay Langstaff, I take my hat off to him. I'm glad he got a goal. He deserves it. He worked, as I said on Friday, he works his absolute bollocks off, Nick. He runs around, he shuts things down, he tries to get forward as much as he can. And Mahalo seems to look better when someone like Langstaff's next to him. A proper runner, That second goal, it was a good link-up play between Camille Negley, Mahalo, I think Ballo and McNamara were involved. I have to watch it back. But it was a nice finish as well from both players, Camille's goal and obviously Langstaff's goal. A good bit of improvisation, but as what you do as a striker, you use every part of your body apart from the hand to get a goal, and he did that. I'm really glad we saw it out as well, because as I said, this Bristol City lot, arrogant fucking bastards, honestly. Their fans, their manager, just the way they carry themselves. And also at the end, I sit block 3, so I'm right above the dugout upstairs, and I made the effort of going right to the front just to give Struber a bit of stick on the way out. But I made sure to see after the game, Alex Neil, the first thing he did after a fist pump was go up to Struber, offer a handshake. And Nick, it was the wettest handshake I've ever seen. You know, with my proper wet, limp. I thought, you know what, you are one sore fucking loser, do you know that? Every prick. But I'm glad we got the double done over them. It's another promotion rival that we've put to the sword, and yeah, just a great victory, and could turn out to be a very important one. So on to Southampton New Year's Day. I don't know how he's going to get them up again for it, Nick. I really don't know. Let's just see if we can get out of there with a draw, and got another game Sunday against Swansea, and then we've got Burnley in the cup. I'd send the women's team, mate. Fuck it. We've got no one else to send. But, yeah, I've said enough now. Great night, great result. On to the next one. Cheers, mate. Bye-bye.
Achtung, Millwall.
Wonderful stuff from Hassan. Happy New Year to you and your family, Hassan. That was good stuff. Croaky stuff, but good stuff, mate. Yeah, the whole Bristol City arrogance thing. I must admit, I wondered how the post-match handshake would go with Alex Neil. There was clearly words early on in the game. On my angle, I couldn't really see enough of the end of the game because it was just, mayhem, obviously, in the wake of the 3 points. I couldn't see how the handshake went. Sounds like it was a right old pansy effort on Struber's part from Hassan's account there. It's a funny thing. Historically, I would regard Bristol City as a kind of similar kind of club to us in the sense that it's a gritty kind of city. It's a support that understands the realities of football, but they all seem to have caught this Premier League disease of thinking of themselves as though they're the new Barcelona, and that this Struber type seems to think of himself as Pep's heir and apparent. Very odd, very odd. They're a decent team, and I think as Hassan and Matt before said, they had us on the ropes for long stretches. But given that we've got a makeshift 11, we took a makeshift 11 down to Ashton Gate, and I don't know if it's the nature of the way we're having to play at the moment. We've got to kick and scratch and bite and bollock, for every inch of ground, and maybe it's not easy on the eye from these refined, tastes that exist in Bristol. I don't know. It's very odd. I find it weird. It's a modern football thing, I think. But anyways, it's 6 points came our way, and for all their artistic merit, or as they might see it, you don't get points based on what you might deserve or the beauty of your play. It's all based on goals in the net. Gerhard. So there we are. One thing I wanted to mention, obviously Caleb Taylor, nice shout there from Hassan. I thought he played very well there. I thought everyone played really well, apart from Reece Bangira-Williams. But I wanted to mention the boy because he's gone on to X, which is, a place where angels fear to tread, especially if you just had a bit of a mare of a performance in a tight situation. But Reece has gone on to X and said it's not, he didn't play well. It was good team effort, but he didn't play to his own standards, and I think that takes fair amount of courage to do that, dear listeners. So I just wanted to send my shout out to Reece. I remain convinced that you are a talent, and that you could have a huge impact on our side. Sounds like there's work to be done. Sounds like conversations need to be had away from the public gaze, behind closed doors, and Reece might need to have a little bit of a rethink, and he could do a lot worse than take a look at the journey that Camille Negley is making at the moment, because both are clearly quality players. We at the Den need as much quality as we can lay our hands on, listeners, because, as all the callers are probably going across this show are going to say, we did a magnificent gritty performance, but you do need that touch of flair and quality as well as the work side of it, and I think that's an area that Reece needs to be honest with himself. It was good honesty online by the boy, and I want to take my hat off to him. So he's one of our own, Reece, and we want to see him come good. So well done for that. Anyway, let's going to play another voice. I'm going to play two together. I'm going to play a new voice on the show, Lawrence Downs, and I'll follow that with Mike George.
Hi Nick, hope all is well and you've had a lovely Christmas break, as is everyone listening in, and all eaten and indulged far too much and regretting it now, as I have. Just going on to Bristol City and a little bit onto Ipswich. I thought, recently you've been digging in. It's been a hard watch at times. I think we can all say that fairly comfortably. But against Ipswich, it proved, holding out for a 0-0 where we probably edged it. Brilliant performance, especially when you see it last night. They went and beat Coventry on their own turf. No mean feat. So I think that proves it even more. We've only got Billy Mitchell able to produce 45 minutes. I don't know if he picked up a knock. I hope he didn't, because we badly need him. And Leonard putting in a shift, but looking quite off it and being asked quite clearly to be playing ahead of schedule. Yesterday you started fairly strong, fairly even. Few mismatched passes from Bangura and Zach Sturge. It was a bit sloppy, but it wasn't inevitably Sturge who put in the cross. Good ball, caused issues, and Negley was there to sort of calmly slide the ball home. And so happy for him because he has come under flack, and his performances haven't always been fantastic, to be honest. But actually, he seems to have been getting his teeth into the games more, covering ground, throwing in challenges, which was maybe uncharacteristic of him prior to this game, or prior to recently. But he slides it in, and then unfortunately thereafter, for up until maybe the hour mark, it was quite a hard watch. The Alamo point comes to mind where we're really up against it, but we done well. The goal that we conceded, I'm not calling Crocombe out. We've got to be a madman to be a goalie, but I did think, getting beat by a near post. I have to watch it again. I thought, it was low, maybe it was quick, but you never like to see a keeper getting beaten at the near post. But there you have it, a bad time to concede, and then it just looked like the writing was on the wall really for 15 minutes. You thought, I can't really see if there is a goal, it's ever going to be us. But this is where I thought full credit to Alex Neil again. Sometimes he's got it wrong, and we've called him out, but by and large this calendar year he's got it so right, hasn't he? He switched man for man to a back three, where I felt it really suited Taylor. He was coming forth and really pressing well high up to win that ball and sweep, which I thought he did really well against Crystal Palace when we first saw him play, actually, and haven't quite seen that since. So quite interesting to see in a back three. Obviously gives us a bit more license to go forward and press and win that ball higher, and it just changed the game. What a great tactical switch, to go to a back three and go man for man, because from literally sitting back and just lumping it straight to their centre half back and forth, we started playing a little bit of football. We were turning them over, creating the chances, and that man Langstaff who come on again, just like Negley. So happy for him. So happy, because look, maybe he's not up to this level, possibly not, but you can't deny the energy he brings, the pressing he brings. And actually, when he got a run of games when he first joined under Harris, he was playing as a lone striker. And we've seen even with Ivanovic, with his stature, how hard that can be. So I don't think it ever was quite suited for him. So maybe it's a tad harsh to say he's not at this level. Maybe it's not at this level when he's being asked to play in that role, but being played up alongside someone, the old little and large, he certainly seemed an influence to me. And even against Ipswich, I thought, everyone said he had a good game, and that was the sort of finish I suppose we expect him to do. It wasn't easy, bit acrobatic, but real instinctive. Got in amongst it, ball's bobbling. He's the man that's there. And actually, I think if we played a little bit more into his hands with someone else there to allow him to roam free and press, he probably can chip in with a few goals and be of use to us. I really do. But I'm so happy for him, because he deserves it. He's an hard worker. You always want to see the underdog, especially at Millwall, producing. So, a really good result. I don't think we deserved it, but we did everything we could defensively and then tactically to nick it. And look, that's a game of football. We've had it against us at times where we've been the better team and lost. So all you can do. But I mean, over the moon, we're still in amongst it. Somehow 4 points off second, but I won't dream that too early. I think Christmas has been and gone. That's a present maybe for later. But what I say is, a couple of players back, and that's all I kept thinking last. If we just had Saka, if we had Luongo, if we had Denor, what a different game this would be. Femi, Coburn. So with them back, let alone with maybe one or two additions, let's just enjoy it. Let's just enjoy it and see where we're going. But You can't do. I don't know any fan who can really be unhappy with how the first half of this season's gone. But look, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to yourself and everyone. All the best now. Bye, bye.
2-0 and a long way home might have been the anthem for this game as the mighty Lions stuck it to the Robins for a second time in a month. But it was no easy ride in front of a packed den, the biggest evening crowd for some years as Millwall set about their task. Bristol, for all their faults, and they have many, are a strange side. They are quite capable of turning on the style, but in the first half was second best to the Lions, who went ahead after Negley latched on to Zach Sturge's cross, which was headed into his path by a red-shirted defender and calmly planted the ball into the net via a slight deflection after just 16 minutes. Well, that shut up the 2,000-plus Bristol fans that had travelled, at least for a while. The visitors came back at us several times, but were thwarted when Max Crocombe parried a fierce shot, but then stood stock still and watched as a decent header zipped across the 6-yard box to go wide. They must have wondered how they were behind at the break because they had shown enough to suggest that they had goals in them. That goal duly came after 4 minutes of the second half, when the Lions' defence indulged in a spot of ritual ball watching and found themselves level when one of the players, Randall, I think, found himself alone and free to shoot into the far bottom corner away from Max Crocombe. What followed was the visitors stepping up another gear as they laid siege to the Millwall goal, and it was, to be honest, through a mixture of stout defending and blind luck that they didn't add a second. That was enough for Alex Neil as he brought on Leonard, Ballow, Danny Mack and Macaulay Langstaff to try and retrieve our grip on the game, and it worked. Young Ballow was certainly up for it as he tore into anyone wearing a red shirt, whilst Macaulay chased any half chance and made himself a right pain in the Bristol backside. Then with just 8 minutes to go, Negley, Ivanovic, Ballow and Danny Mack all combined to engineer the ball into the opposition box, which the goalkeeper and defender were unable to deal with, and Macaulay stuck a foot out and the ball ended up in the net. So on paper, a terrific victory and 3 valuable points in what was a proper Millwall performance, full of fight, tenacity and never say die attitude. Now, I'm not a big fan of Negley, but I have to concede that tonight he was terrific. He never gave up, must have covered every blade of grass in both attack and defence, and showed that he can, when he is in the mood, and he was, be a right handful. He was my man of the match. Honourable mentions must also go to Tiano Ballow, who, as I said, looked like a young man on a mission when he came on, and to Max Crocombe, who frankly was assaulted by the Bristol City players. However, rather than retire from the game, he got up and carried on, no doubt battered and bruised, and although he was facing a Bristolian onslaught, held firm and repelled the attacks. And lastly, to Macaulay Langstaff. The goal he scored was a poacher's goal, not particularly pretty and not a contender for goal of the month. He stuck out a leg and got lucky, but it was the winning goal and that will mean the world to him. In recent weeks, he has run his heart out without really getting a sniff of a goal, so when he scored tonight, the Den crowd obviously celebrated as only they can, but the smiles all round also revealed a genuine relief that at last Macaulay had scored the goal that his efforts so richly deserved. As for Bristol, they returned to the West Country with their tails between their legs and their manager already complaining about how his team had so much possession and had still lost to Millwall. One Bristol fan on social media asking how they lost to what he described as the worst team in the league. Granted, Millwall have played better this season, but 3 points are still 3 points. Come on, you Lions. Made a mistake there, didn't I? It should have been 2-1 and a long way home. Obviously, I didn't miss their goal. I just dismissed it as irrelevant.
Fantastic stuff, Mike. And before Mike Lawrence, great to hear from you both, boys. Yeah, Langstaff. Both chaps there mentioned Langstaff as a part of a front two. I thought Ivanovic is learning the art of the big striker, flick headers on. And what does that need? Every Cascarino needs a Sheringham or a Lee Gregory for their Steve Morrison, dear listeners. And I just wonder whether there's the beginnings of a possible partnership. I'm not saying starting partnership, because I do think that when Josh Coburn is back fit, he will probably be working alongside perhaps Mihailo Ivanovic, who is clearly developing as a player in Championship football, because it's a big, steep end of the swimming pool, isn't it? When you're coming on, I'd also mention Camille Negley on this front and some of the other boys. You're jumping in the deep end with no float to grab hold of if you're an unsteady swimmer like me. But I just wonder, the goal poaching goal that got the winner there from Macaulay Langstaff is exactly what we need. He also works hard. I really like that. Ivanovic seems to combine well with him. I think the flick header onto the buzzing Lee Gregory style, even Tom Bradshaw maybe, I don't know, striker is a way that we're going to get ourselves the ball forwards and it sticks forwards. Others have mentioned across this show the fact that we were pumping the ball forwards and it was just coming straight back at us. In real time, I was finding it highly stressful, sat up there in Birdshit Corner, crammed right in the corner, incidentally, listeners. It was a full sold out den, and a young couple right alongside me. I was squeezed right in the corner, and the lady was looking up at me like I was a nutcase. These are the prices that I pay for your entertainment, listeners. Talking to myself inside football stadia. I'm either a nutcase or a member of the authoritarian Stasi, old Bill, taking notes of people around me in some people's eyes. But there we go. Yeah, but I do wonder whether that's a potential front two for phases of the game where it's needed. Don't know. Who can be unhappy? I think Lawrence asked at the moment. Not me. I'm very, very happy with the situation at the Den, and I really do recommend anyone listening, even the members of the Camille Negley fan club that sit in Block 1, get happy, like the song says. Get happy. The last time we were in these giddy heights of the table must be back in 2001-2, the playoff surge season, because I don't think we in recent times we've got close to the playoffs, haven't we? But we've not really been in the top six consistently, and that indeed is where we are, with one hand tied behind our backs, injury-wise, dear listeners. To take us up to the break, the advertising break that funds this extravaganza called Achtung Millwall, we're going to have a quick listen there to Rob Woodford. Take it away, Rob.
When I looked up at the clock on 72 minutes, I was thinking there's no way we can sustain more of this pressure for another 20 minutes, because that's what was happening. Wave after wave of Bristol City attacks, and we just couldn't get out. Now, Max Crocom's injury late in the second half, which contributed to those 7 minutes injury time, that did help us to take the sting out of the game after being on the receiving end of so much pressure. But Alex Neil's substitutions, for me, turned the tide in the end. And again, I'm pleased for Maka, who has really impressed with his cameo roles this season, in my opinion. And it was another game where maybe the Camel Negley Boo Boys would have been extremely disappointed, because that young man was outstanding last night. And what about Alex Neil's first calendar year in charge? Played 46, won 21, drew 10, losing 15. Putting Millwall in second place in the Championship stats for the calendar year 2025. All this with injuries to key personnel. So it shows us what a great team spirit we have in the camp under this gaffer. And the last two home games were certainly what I would call Millwall performances. Only conceded one goal in 180 minutes. And what about last night's attendance? It's got to be a very long time since we had a sellout for a midweek game. And let's hope another patched up team can keep this going on New Year's Day for yet another tough game in a very competitive championship. Nick, I've enjoyed listening to Achtung Millwall throughout the whole of 2025. So keep it going, please, mate, because you are a smooth operator.
Hello, I'm Diane Morgan. If you know who I am, you know who I am. If you don't, who cares? I'm here to explain Italian Time, a holiday phenomenon where Italians throw away their clocks and gather for eternity with San Pellegrino. I've been at this party so long that I've eaten 5 courses, hugged someone's grandma twice, and been offered a job in the family restaurant. So this holiday season, make sure to bring enough San Pellegrino to last you through the meal, the after meal, and the entire goodbye ritual. San Pellegrino, holiday on Italian Time.
Achtung, Millwall.
Achtung, Monica, Bobby T. Just got in now, and I just want to say basically, Happy New Year, Achtung Millwall, great podcast. But you know what my dilemma is now, mate, Nick, and the old Achtung Millwall? Yeah, it was a gritty, nitty, smash. It wasn't even smash and grab. We just got out of jail, basically. Bristol City were the better side. And he changed it, I think, you saw the right on the wall, like at the first half, and it was edgy first half. We weren't one edgely, I was cussing him and see you next Tuesday, whatever. Today, for some funny reason, he had some, rocket up his arse. I mean, he couldn't really miss that anyway. It was an own goal anyway. Give him credit. Right, Bangor Williams, bit of a Bambi on ice, bless him, still support him. And Maku, for me, again, he's got talent, but he got taken off anyway. What I want to know, the biggest element, Nick Hart. Question to you and the panel. Tristan, man of the match, everyone said, not wasted at right back, energy and all that, but I think he's better in the centre back with Callum Taylor. Sorry, Jake Cooper, you made a few mistakes here. But bring Kramer back in, play Danny Mack, play Leonard right back. Billy Mitchell went off. Hopefully he's all right, Billy, one of our own. We're missing Casper, but it's a dilemma now. For me, I'd bring Kramer back into the centre-back with Taylor, young centre pairing. Play Danny Mack at right back or Leonard. Leonard's age and Danny Mack's not bad. But yeah, for me, Coops, I don't know. It's a tough one. Hey, Happy New Year, 2-1 Millwall. You carrot crunching tractor boys. Fuck off, Millwall. Bye for now. Happy New Year, Bobby T.
Magnificent stuff by Bobby T there, dear listeners. And before the break from Rob Woodford, Bobby's question, bring Tristan Kramer into the middle with Taylor and drop Jake. I don't see that one happening, Bob. What I do see happening, obviously the central defence is looking pretty secure, though we did give the ball away a lot the other night. That was also adding to my state of nervous exhaustion on Monday night. I think Kramer at right back has, with a full deck of cards to play with, possibly you could get Kramer, use him far more energetically in the right back role. You're going to be playing probably Taylor and Jake Cooper in the centre, with coverage on the bench of Leonard and Danny Mack potentially to come in. I mean, this is once we get a full squad back, then the manager's going to be, it's going to be spoilt for choice, dear listeners, in terms of position. We don't really know what the January transfer window is going to produce either, Bob. Kramer at the moment is one of our crown jewels, along with Femi Aziz up front, who hopefully will be back available to us tomorrow at Southampton. But we don't know if there's going to be any interest, i.e. big money coming in on the table. I do get a sense that the club are keen to strengthen the squad. Steve Gallen's interview last week, I think it was, on Mill TV, kind of hinted that there may be early moves in January. Now, whether that includes Tristan, I don't know. I don't have any inside track on any of that. I think there's going to be balancing between wanting to retain the best of our squad and making the kind of chess moves to strengthen the squad, i.e., transactions, deals, the marketplace. The old haggle might have to come into play for players coming in and possibly going out. We're going to have to wait and see. I'll be amazed if Jake gets dropped, Bob, to be quite honest. I wouldn't drop him personally. I think that he's a rock. He's a huge figure at the club, Jake Cooper. He's the rock of our defence. And yeah, Taylor's been looking better recent games. I like the look of Caleb Taylor, but I do think it used to be said that Jake improves with a player alongside him. I actually think Jake improves the player alongside him as he's got older, wiser, more mature in the game. But anyway, big thank you, Bobby T. Happy New Year to you, Bob, and Happy New Year to Rob Woodford preceding the advertising break. We're going to run two together now, Rob Abbott and Martin Colwell.
Evening, Nick. Rob Abbott, just driving back from the den there. Well, we needed the 3 points, didn't we? And we bloody got the 3 points. That game was a bit reminiscent on the Sheffield Wednesday midweek home game in November, where I don't think we'd won in 3 or 4 before that, and whatever happened, we just needed to get the 3 points. I felt that was the same this evening. I thought we played quite well on Boxing Day, but tonight was just about getting a result after not winning in 4. And look, I think we'll all admit that we certainly weren't at our best tonight, but the main thing is we got the 3 points. We've only had 2 shots on target, and they've both gone in the goal. A few mentions. I thought Negley was absolutely superb, and delighted he got his goal. I thought Kramer throughout the whole game, considering he started at right back, then went into the centre of a back three, was superb. Taylor alongside him was very good. But then the special mentions are Ballo, I thought was superb when he came on, and Langstaff. They effectively, and Alex Neil's change to a back 5 got us back into that game, because if we're honest, after we went 1-0 up to half-time, we weren't really in the game. We were making so many basic errors, weren't we? Sturge, Bangura, Williams, Amaku, they were all very, very poor and light. Kept making the errors. So we couldn't get any control in the game. I was surprised at half-time there wasn't a change. I thought Sturge might have gone there and Amaku, but Alex Neil obviously brought Billy off. I'm hoping that is just because of the amount of minutes he's played in the last week and 9, that we got 2 more games in the next 6 days to keep him fresh. So Leonard come on. I'm surprised that was the only change. And look, Bristol City deservedly got their goal, to be fair. Come from our left side, which we were weak all night down our left side, and Bristol City were targeting that. And yeah, 10-15 minutes after the goal, I was like, geez, we're just going to hang on here, and lose this, because we looked like we were scared of getting on the ball, and we were just lumping it clear. And we as soon as we got possession back near our own box, everyone just ran away from the ball. So we were struggling. But then, look, Alex Neil changed the shape, changed the players, and it worked. And yeah, I think we finished the game quite strong. And got the 3 points, and yeah, everyone run their socks off there. They were absolutely off their feet at the end. Negley was. Ivanovic, wow, his work rate was unreal tonight, and he was unlucky not to score. A couple of really good efforts. So yeah, we move on to Southampton. We're up to 5th. What do we got? 22 more games to go. Jeez, this is a marathon, isn't it? This championship's ups and downs, and that was a big up tonight, even though we didn't play well. And if we can pull points out of the bag when we're not playing well, we're in a good position, because yeah, we've got Aziz coming back. Hopefully the club have 1 or 2 lined up to come in early in January just to help us. And then I don't know if I'm correct, I think Coburn is due back around the FA Cup game, and I think Casper De Noor is early mid-January as well. So, wow, getting Aziz, De Noor and Coburn back alone, that's like 3 new signings, plus if we can get a few in the door. Yeah, it's onwards and upwards. Sorry, ambulance just going past me. Anyhow, Happy New Year, Nick. Best wishes for 2026, and I will chat with you soon.
Oh, hi, Nick. Martin Colwell here. Hope you enjoyed last night's game against Bristol City. Oh, it was hard fought, very, scrappy. Didn't think we played well at all, really. They just couldn't get going, really. It was like some of those games we have on a Tuesday night, except it was on a Monday night, wasn't it? Can't really get anything going. Got the goal really, probably out of nothing. I thought we were struggling just to put anything together really. Defending okay. I thought it was a fairly even game first half, and we managed to get the lead. But I thought that come half time, Bristol City would kind of have to turn it around really, and they did. The loss of Billy Mitchell was not good. I presume he had an injury or a niggle and had to go off. But yeah, that didn't help. And as I say, we soon conceded, and we looked like we were going to get a bit run over, didn't we? But we were kind of clinging on to the 1-1. And then really the substitutes changed it, didn't they? We made those changes after Bristol City had scored and got on top, and they gradually started to work, particularly Ballo when he came on. I thought he seemed to have his legs back and he was running at them, giving them trouble, getting at them, which some of the other players looked a bit sluggish and weren't really getting at Bristol City, who did look the better team second half, to be honest. And then he made the difference, and we managed to play a fair bit better, I thought, after that, with the subs on, and we got the goal, albeit scrappy, but we don't mind scrappy goals, because scrappy goals count as much as 35-yarders, don't they? And we got that, and we kind of saw the game out okay, I guess. I mean, we would come under pressure, but we defended very well, and credit to the defending really. I mean, we can't do that every week, but I mean, we've taken 6 points off Bristol City now, haven't we? Who are up there, and they challenged last year, didn't they, as well? So they're not a bad team, but we managed to give them a good run for their money, really, albeit a scrappy Monday night game. So that was very, very, very much 3 points gained. You'd have to give man of the match to Ballo, really, because of the energy he added when he came on and kind of made a difference, attacking-wise, that we really didn't look like doing anything until he came on. And it was good that Langstaff was able to get on and get a scrappy goal, because that's all you want from your forwards, someone who can sort of just get in there and flick it in, and and when they hit the back of the net, they hit the back of the net, don't they? But yeah, good crowd as well for a Monday, because I presume some people were back at work, but that was a good crowd. And on we go to Southampton, who have got some good players, but again, they're not world beaters, are they? So they are, they're there, but they're not, they're still in the bottom half, I think, aren't they? So they are beatable, and Femi Aziz will be back, and I'm sure he'll get a starting berth in that game as well, because we need a bit more attacking threat. So yeah, it's looking good for 2026. If we can get over these injuries we're getting, we can push on, because as I say, it's a weak division, and I know I didn't think, as I said the other day, I didn't think Ipswich were that great, but they've gone and beaten Coventry tonight. So, you don't know. Perhaps they'll start to stay up there and get that kind of, rival Coventry for that first and second place. But I think we've got a decent chance of the playoffs if we can just keep players fitter, if you like, and get through that. But if we keep doing that, then we're going to struggle. But yeah, very pleased with that result. Wasn't expecting it. Well, I thought we could squeak a win, but I wasn't expecting, to play poorly and still win. But yeah, looking forward to the new year. Happy New Year to everyone, and come on, you Lions.
Happy New Year to Martin. Thank you for the content, mate, as always. And before Martin Colwell, to Rob Abbott, our Irish lion who travels over regularly from Dublin. I think that's a magnificent tribute to the pulling power of football. So big shout out to the two boys there. All hands on deck defending. Of course, it was on Monday night versus Bristol. A case of having to be. We did get pinned back for large periods. We did endure it, though, dear listeners. I think that's tribute, as we've said a few times across the show, to the sheer team spirit. As far as Macaulay Langstaff is concerned, and as Martin said there, scrappy goals count the same as Gerhard Struber level world beaters. I think Macaulay Langstaff has a role. I would be sad to see him go. Obviously, there's going to be some hard thinking done in the January transfer window, and I would be surprised if Langstaff moves on in January. He may well move on in the summertime, depending on where we, what the kind of final plot lines of our season become. But I think his role as a industrious goal poaching substitute, which is no dishonour in that, I think he could be very useful as games stretch and as we need to nick goals late in these crucial games ahead. So it's going to be an interesting series of choices to be made across the marathon that is the championship, as Rob put it. So big thank you to the two boys there. We're going to play the last three messages back to back now. This is Adam Wicks, Glyn Horner and Mark Willoughby.
Morning, Nick. Just Adam Wicks here, just leaving my thoughts after last night's excellent, in the end, 2-1 win over Bristol City. Just think we're just digging in and finding a way to just grind out wins and draws, aren't we, somehow at the minute? I think it's very impressive. I don't think on the balance of play yesterday, I mean, Bristol City must be wondering how the hell they've played us twice and come away with absolutely zero. Not that I'm bothered, but it's just one of those teams we just seem to, for some reason this season, be able to do a number on, even if we're not firing on all cylinders by any stretch. And I think, it's just incredible what we're doing with a total lack of midfield. I think when Billy Mitchell was absolutely superb first half, and I think everyone could see the difference in the sort of the side, the way we were able to keep hold of the ball in any sense, and it just got very panicked, and we were just kicking the ball anywhere, clearing, sitting deep, and I mean letting a goal in after 3 or 4 minutes. I think after the break, not good, and we do tend to have a bit of a habit of switching off after half time, I think, but somehow found our way back into it after Alex Neil made some tactical changes and moved the shape about, and we got a foothold back in, and Ballo and Langstaff really contributed when they came on, just to stretch their defence and give them something to think about, which was really good. I think disappointments for me, I mean, Amaku, I wish nothing more than he becomes a hell of a winger, but I just can't see it happening. Like he just doesn't do enough for me. I think he's incredibly wasteful with the ball. I think his stats themselves, in terms of how many goals he's set up and scored in the amount of minutes he's had on the pitch, is pretty bad. And I would have just thought, I mean, if I was him and Aziz was out for 3 games, you'd be absolutely doing everything you could within your power to give Alex Neil a real headache when Aziz comes back. But it's not going to be a tough decision, is it, to drop him out and put Femi straight back in? And it's a shame, really, because I always think when all these injuries and suspensions, they do provide opportunities for people like Amaku, Bangura Williams, and other players that maybe wouldn't quite be getting as many minutes as they are, to really show why they should be playing. And some of them, unfortunately, probably showing why Alex Neil's been right not to select him. But yeah, there we are. So, but I think for me, positives. Caleb Taylor's looking stronger and stronger every time he plays. I really like the way he carries the ball out of defence, as well as does his basic defending duties really well. Kramer's just solid as a rock, isn't he, as well? And, great for Langstaff getting the goal. He really is a trier, isn't he? We do like that. And it's good to see him get some reward. I think Doughty's done as good a job as he can do in central midfield, even though we really, really, really do miss Casper or Derek or Kelly or Luongo, any of those guys. And we miss Smallbone. I know he's been out for a while, but just that composure level, I think we're missing a little bit. But, hats off to them all for digging in and sticking with it, and, onwards to Southampton. Come on, you Lions.
I know every operating system like the back of my hand.
I have 25 years of experience and have worked with several people from your company. I've been recognized for my passion. My team is everything.
LinkedIn delivers candidates who rise above the rest. With an up-to-date view into shared connections, skills, and interests you won't find anywhere else. See why 86% of small businesses who post a job on LinkedIn get a qualified candidate within a day. Post a job for free at linkedin.com/achieve. LinkedIn, your next great hire is here.
This episode is brought to you by Espolón Tequila. Slow, sticky, snoozy. They call these the dog days of summer. But Espolón? They don't do boring. Welcome to the Marg Days. Espolón Tequila. 100% blue Weber agave, born to shake up your summer. Just add lime, agave, and a little attitude. Visit espolontequila.com. Espolón Tequila, 40% alcohol, volume 80 proof. Copyright 2025 Campari America, New York, New York. Drink responsibly.
Hey, Nick Glynn here. So that was tremendous result tonight. I mean, what a true battling performance that really was. I mean, for this cast of understudies that we're currently being forced to field at the moment, we've seen a couple of games where they didn't gel, and then we've seen some games where they really have had to dig deep to get a result. And I think Ipswich and Bristol City are, those two games really. I won't accept that Crocombe isn't good enough to be a top-level goalkeeper in this division. I think he's been excellent. And yes, he's had one bad game. Apart from that, he's been superb. And he pulled off some really good saves today, and also commanded his area really well. So I think, great credit to him. Everybody across the defence played really well. Cooper was probably not the greatest performance from him, but he did well enough to lead the team. But Taylor and Crammer were outstanding. And that back three centre-backs is it's an interesting formation, because it won't always work. But tonight, I think that change in formation, bringing Danny Mack on, bringing Langstaff on, just changed the whole dynamic of the game and got us out of that sort of 30-minute spell where we were under almost constant pressure. So to sort of keep them out throughout that whole time, and then for Alex Neil to sort of make the tactical change to really sort of take the game back under our control was really well done for him as well. I really, really was impressed with Negley tonight. He's really starting to look like he's starting to understand what it is to play in this division, the physicality of it, which probably doesn't come naturally to him. But I really think tonight he was outstanding, and he was also very good against Ipswich. So I'm really pleased for him. And, make no bones about it, right? That goal that Langstaff scored, that was a striker's instinctive goal, and you don't score that goal unless you've had the instinct to get involved, get up front, and actually put yourself in that position to be able to hook that ball in with the outside of his foot as he's being dragged over. So, yeah, delighted, really good. They've done so well. They probably can't keep it up for much longer, but, we get to January, we see what happens. Players coming back, maybe some new signings, just to sort of bolster the squad. But overall, I think tremendous. Everybody deserves a lot of credit. Well done, lads. Come on, you Lions.
Hello, Nick. Mark Willoughby. Don't know if it's too late for a message, but just give you my thoughts. If I'm not, so I went along last night to the Bristol City game. I was a bit worried about it, to be honest. Bristol in good form, us not really. 4 games without a win. and then a difficult one on New Year's Day against Southampton. So I'm saying to my mate, we've got to win this really, but we knew it wouldn't be easy, and so it proved. It was really, first 10 minutes were ours, the next 70 were Bristol's, and then the last 10 were ours. And luckily enough, we managed to take a couple of chances within those tiny little gaps, and somehow nick a win. I don't know if it's possible to have a smash and grab at home, but it felt like it was. Very disjointed performance, misplaced passes, shaky defending, and panic, quite frankly, trying to just hook the ball out, blast it to no one, and it wasn't good to see. But sometimes you got to do it, and we certainly rode our luck, but somehow we've managed to get ourselves to a point where we are 5th at the end of the year, and I would just like to express my admiration for Alex Neil, all the players, all of who give 100%, and there's a great togetherness at Millwall, and that's why we're where we are despite the injuries. And also like to give a shout out to the fans, especially those that travel. We've travelled in numbers this year, and it's been great to see, and we've been rewarded for some decent performances as well. So well done to everyone. We can look forward to an interesting 2026 where anything is possible, and let's hope we can get players back from injury, make some decent wise signings in the transfer window, which is now upon us, thank God, and anything can happen. So happy new year to you, Nick, to all the listeners, and come on you Lions.
Back at you, Mark, and before Mark, to Glyn and to Adams, happy new year to everybody listening to the show too. I mean, the fans who have travelled, I just want to second Mark's final point there. We've had some really, really strong support this season. It's clearly, there's a sense of something building here, listeners. I think we've got a massive opportunity in the second half of the season. At the moment, it's wing and a prayer because of the injury crisis. So let's hope that eases, and let's hope that the business that the club does in January helps to make the most of this opportunity. We really do have a shot at the big time, and it won't be the big time of 1988 when I was and some of us old buffers talk about it endlessly, and I would love for the kids, the youngsters that have grown up since 1988 to have something of their own to talk about. Nothing would please me more than for us to get into the top flight, and this is a massive opportunity. So hats off to the squad that have got us into this position, but as Alex Neil said in one of our recent conversations, we've not won anything yet, so a lot of work to be done. It's a huge workload. I was just looking as Mark was speaking, we'll play 5 games once the game against Swansea is finished on Sunday. 5 games in 2 weeks. That's a big ask for any squad, let alone one that's been blighted by injuries. So huge amount of spirit, and it is incredible what we're doing, as Adam I think said at the start of that little sequence, what we're doing about midfield at the moment. Listeners, this is the final show of 2025 from me. I just wanted to take the chance to wish everybody listening, wherever you are in the world, at home or abroad, a very happy New Year's Eve tonight, and also best wishes for 2026. This could be a big year for Millwall. With fingers crossed, everyone listening to this show will share with me in really sending our best wishes and thoughts to Alex Neil and the squad. They're going to need to really find, dig deep and deeper to achieve the target, but I've got every faith that this squad can do it. So big happy new year wishes to everybody listening to the show. Thank you for everyone that contributes to the show, whether it's the post-match conversations that we do, or the voicemails. Both really, really help. I love these voicemail shows, listeners. The characters and the range of views and opinions you get to hear, I find really, really, fantastic. So I just want to say a big thank you to everyone for their contributions. If you want to join in the posse that contributes to shows, do send me a message. You can email me at achtungmillwall@gmail.com, or if you're on X, my messages are open, so it's at achtungmillwall. Just message me. We'll exchange our mobile numbers so you can send your messages by WhatsApp. By far the easiest way to do it, listeners. We are an audio only podcast, and so no pictures, no video for me. I don't intend to change that. Maybe the odd little thing I might do here and there, but that won't be for the show itself, in the way it's structured. So if you fancy doing like a post-match conversation with me as well, that would be great. It'd be great to get as many different voices and views and opinions on the show as we can muster. Normally I do those on a normal basis, normally Sunday morning after a game, Saturday game, Sunday morning conversation. And we do it by, it's like a Zoom link. Let's call it Zoom. It's not Zoom, but we'll call it Zoom because it's easier to describe it that way. So normally it'd be Sunday morning. It's not video, so you don't have to worry about brushing your teeth or combing your hair. It's just me talking to you about the game last night. And I normally try and reel those in under 20 minutes. So a 20-minute call on a Sunday morning, talking about the Millwall game the day before. If you fancy it, hit me up, send me a message, get in touch. It'd be great to hear from you. It'd be great to get a spread of voices on the show. That'd be fantastic. So there we are, listeners. That's it for 2025 wrapped. New Year's Eve tonight, fireworks. I'm going to go down to Southampton tomorrow. And as a few have said on this show, let's send out our support as loudly as we can to the team that will be giving everything for us. They've given everything so far across this Christmas period. They're going to be doing it again tomorrow, win, lose or draw. So until the next edition of Achtung Mill after Southampton, from me, Nick Hart, thank you for listening. Happy New Year. Arrivederci Millwall, and bye for now.
Achtung, Millwall.
Who do you want to watch?